All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live here on EP09 Bodybuilding. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Sitting around on this fine Sunday afternoon, as I regularly do, wait for the MENACE podcast to come out. And it certainly did today, with a little bit of an unexpected twist. It would seem that Samson Dauda has blocked Milos Sarcev and Dennis James, as well as Chris Cormier, which is very interesting because, as we know, Samson made a pretty big post about how he wanted to thank Milos for all his help, all that stuff, very shortly after this all took place where they had their split. Very, very interesting. So I've got the post that Samson originally put. I've actually got that here. I'll show you guys that first. This was the post from March 18th, shortly after Samson and Milos split. So it says here, now that the dust is finally settling down from the last 2 weeks of a very full-on and roller coaster ride, I can take the time and say thank you to this amazing gentleman for all he has done for me for the last 2.5 years. We've been through the craziest of battles and experiences together, and we have both worked so hard and tirelessly to achieve the goal of becoming one of the best bodybuilders in the world, for which I will forever be grateful to him. Thank you, Milos, for all you have done for me and the time we worked together, and I wish you all the very best. Even though we are no longer working together, I will always consider you my friend. So that was the original post. It seemed like at the time that this was an amicable split. It seemed like, at least from Samson's perspective, I know that Milos seemed to be a little bit hesitant when it came to the topic in particular. This was something that seemed to affect Milos to the point where he really didn't want to speak about it. It definitely, I don't think, was as amicable of a situation as what it appeared to be originally. I'm interested to know what you guys might think about this. We're just waiting for a few more people to actually join up here on the live stream, and then we'll play a couple of clips. You guys, let me know in the chat, how you guys doing on this fine Sunday anyway? Did you guys catch the most recent podcast from Dennis James? It only came out about an hour ago, but I had to jump on and see what you guys thought about this and give you guys my my live reaction. We got a couple people in the chat. Peter says, I watched a recent training video with Samson and Seth Feroci, etc. Samson's stomach control is non-existent, and it's going to cost him wins. That seems to be becoming more of an issue, and definitely more of a topic of conversation amongst the bodybuilding world here, is Samson's midsection. It is definitely something that if he does not have it completely under control, that it will affect him when it comes to placings. We have seen this in modern day bodybuilding, where the midsections, if they are not on point, you will not be awarded. You will be penalized massively, and I mean massively. And if Samson ends up subject to that, it can really affect his career, absolutely. Now, I'm sure that him being, one of the best in the world, that he is at least aware of this, and I would think that he would start practicing more midsection control, perhaps start looking at the proper protocols to make sure that his midsection will not completely blow out on him. Putting on more size is going to be a risk for Samson at this point. There's no question. Now, can he put on more size and still keep that midsection in check? I think he can. I think it's going to take the proper protocol. I think it's going to take the proper diet. And it's going to take the proper coach. Now, we'll talk about a potential for coaching here in a minute. But for those of you who are just joining us here live, thank you for tuning in. We have what ended up happening was, on the most recent episode of the Dennis James podcast, we had Dennis, Milos, and Chris Cormier all come out and basically say that it seems that Samson Dauda blocked all of them on Instagram. Now, it's one thing for him to block Milos, perhaps. That could be one thing. But the fact that he blocked all three, Kind of incredible. Kind of incredible. What would he possibly have against Dennis James and Chris Cormier? I mean, I'm assuming that they didn't speak very often. So this is a strange one. This is a strange one. I'm going to show you guys the clips here in a minute. There's a couple of clips that I pulled from the podcast. Loho says, wow, what's happening here? Well, this is what's happening. It seems that Samson is just blocking anyone that's associated with Milos Sarcev, when it comes to the podcast. Loho says, Kuwait's focus is always on fullness while Samson needs more conditioning. It's definitely a risk. Kuwait has been known to turn out some mass monsters. There's no question there. But Samson's already massive. I don't think Samson needs any more overall size. Going to Kuwait... Now, and with all that being said, there is nothing out there right now, in particular, that's confirmed by Samson, that says that he is going to be prepping in Kuwait. Nothing of the sort, as of right now. But Samson did have something out on his Instagram, and I'm going to show you guys that here soon. There was something that came out on Samson's Instagram where he actually did an interview with Oxygen Gym, and this was in a fairly official capacity. And Samson was asked basically why people should come and compete in Dubai. So that being put on by Oxygen Gym, right? The fact that he's promoting that essentially now when it comes to competing in Dubai, that may tell you a couple of things. You could discern quite a bit from that. This was probably not something that happened randomly. This is probably something that was certainly planned well in advance. But the question is, how far in advance? And that's one of the conversations that we're going to have here soon. We've got a few more people in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for joining here on this fine Sunday afternoon. If you are not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get all the latest bodybuilding news. Gordon Ritchie says, so childish, especially considering what a gentleman and how supportive Milos has publicly been. Rumble, what's going on? I was rooting for Samson, but he's making it hard to like him. And I'm seeing that more and more. A lot of people are arriving at that conclusion. Personalities in bodybuilding are such a big thing, If you're going to be a public figure, which essentially these guys are on a global scale, you have to watch, some of these ways that you conduct yourself. Not to say that Samson blocking someone is anything that could be considered extremely derogatory. If he was to come out and say things, it might be different. But I mean, the guy can block whoever he wants, I suppose, at the end of the day. But like I said, it's one thing to block Milos. It's quite another to block Dennis James and to block Chris Cormier. It's just weird. So look, we're going to get into a couple of clips here, you guys. I'm going to show you guys a couple of clips here that I pulled from the podcast. Take down a couple others. Now, let me just make sure that I've got the proper clip to start. And I do. So I'm going to run it for you guys. Here we go.
Hey, Chris, did you check, did the Samson block you? Because he blocked Dennis, too.
Really? Guys are assholes. No, I don't think so, man.
I don't know why. I mean, it's funny because Milos said that he was blocked. And then when he told me, I checked and I was still following him. But now when I put his name in, I don't even find it. So does that mean I'm blocked?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, it does.
Think so?
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm blocked?
100%.
See it though? You can't see it?
Let me before I I don't understand. I wouldn't understand why. Now, usually if you follow someone, you would find them immediately. Now it doesn't find them no more. No, I guess I'm blocked. I don't know why.
Let me see.
Chris is checking his too.
Yeah.
That's okay. I have 5 other accounts. I can check if I want to see some.
5.
Maybe.
So look, guys, there's confirmation right there that they just put up here not even 2 hours ago. Dennis James checked, pretty thoroughly to make sure that he wasn't making a mistake there. And this all started from Milos saying that he was blocked. And I do have the entire video from the MENACE podcast in the description below for you guys. Definitely go check it out. I mean, it is such a good podcast. I mean, anybody that's here, I'm sure, is a regular viewer. But look, this is something where Dennis honestly couldn't even believe it, and I don't blame him. What reason would Samson Dauda have for blocking Dennis James or Chris Cormier? I mean, did those guys even speak, on any kind of regular basis? I highly doubt it. Even when Milos was coaching him, for 2.5 years, I can't even recall, Samson being on the MENACE podcast. And I'm a pretty regular viewer. If I'm mistaken on that, you guys let me know in the comments. But if he did appear on the MENACE podcast, it was once, twice, maybe. It couldn't have been very many times. Nothing that I can particularly remember. We've got a couple of comments here. Loho says, whenever I hear about Samson and Milos, I always have to think about Arnold's quote in Total Recall, consider that a divorce. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Samson did make it seem, I'll pull up the clip again for you guys, of the post that Samson made on March 18th, because he did make it seem like it was going to be a fairly amicable, or it was at least, something where he was showing respect for Milos. Why now, not even 2 months later, would he block Milos Sarcev? I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand. I've got another clip for you guys that I'm going to run here in a second as well, which is also from the MENACE podcast. Gamer Eye says, I cannot believe how much of a traitor he is. I'm Serbian, by the way. Makes me think Samson is lazy and just wants to get bigger when he already has all the size needed. He needs to get shredded, not bigger. Most definitely. Samson needs to bring that conditioning. Even the judges have given him that feedback. Come in conditioned. The size factor is there. He has it. There's no question, He just needs that conditioning. Can he get that conditioning training at Oxygen Gym, which is well known really for creating, the mass monsters of the sport? Well, I don't know. That is a reputation that, Oxygen Gym has had for quite some time. And unless things have changed since, the days of Big Ramy and, Brandon Curry. Well, Brandon Curry is a good example. Look at Brandon Curry coming into the, to the last Olympia. Was he shredded? No, he wasn't. Is that a fault of Oxygen Gym? Well, I think that Brandon having the sickness that he had was definitely a part of it. But even when Big Ramy was there, we did not see the most shredded version of Big Ramy. So I'm going to play you guys the next clip here.
Hey, but he really did block me, man. Ain't that? Where are we, man? Are we in high school? You don't like me, I block you.
You could block people back in the day.
Well,
I hope it's something wrong with Instagram. So I don't want to believe you. For what? What reason? Because I speak to Milos, or
yeah, probably.
he blocked you, Milos, first.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Milos should be the only one blocked. I'm kidding.
I'm
Why?
honored.
Why should he be blocked?
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm joking. Hey, man, this is a good time to shout out some of my followers.
Right? I mean, why? It just doesn't make any sense to me, It doesn't make any sense because I never heard Milos say anything, particularly bad, about Samson in particular. I don't think that, it was anything that he said that would have caused that, at least not publicly, I can't speak about, what's happened behind closed doors. I know that there has been rumors of, less than amicable conversations, situations, but we can't confirm any of that. We can't confirm any of that. Now, there is another clip that I'm going to show you guys, like I said, of Samson actually doing an interview over there.
But he really did.
I got to find it here. In Dubai, which he just posted on his Instagram today. You can see here he's got O2 gyms with two others. I don't know who the two others are actually. We'll check on that. But let's get to some comments here before we get into that. Again, if you guys are new here on EP09, thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for all the latest bodybuilding news and updates. Podcasts with some of the biggest IFBB pros that are out there right now. And I hope you guys are enjoying the content that have been tuning in for a while. Let's see. Fast Time says probably because they've sided with Milos. Well, I mean, they're all on the same podcast, sure, and they have been for quite some time. I don't think that that's necessarily a reason to just, block both of them. It doesn't make any sense to me. Unless, like I said, something was said behind closed doors. And who knows? Loho says, since Samson is on a blocking mission, it seems... I hope he didn't block Mark's Max Muscle. I fucking hope not. Mark's a good dude. Mark doesn't say bad things about anybody, man. Like, I think actually Samson did block... Now, I can't remember, and I don't want to spread any falsehoods, but I believe, was it Samson that may have blocked Krishan over at Goat Fitness? I can't remember in particular. I know that somebody did block Krishan over there. He's mentioned it on his channel a couple of times, but this is all very new for me. I did not know that Samson was going to such lengths, presumably for who knows? I thought this situation was over with Milos. It's weird that it would come up now. A few more comments here, guys, and I'll play you guys the clip here in a minute. I'm sure Samson's wife made him block them. She wears the pants. That's something that, we've heard a good number of times now when it comes to Samson's wife, and essentially the conversation has been her being in control of Samson's career. I don't know of anything to, substantiate that claim in particular. I know that she did help him. He was public about it, how she did help him for, it was the Arnold UK. So, does that mean that she's in control of his career? I mean, there's all kinds of crazy shit flying around you guys of rumors of what she has on Samson and this and that and the other thing. I have no idea. I like to stick to facts as best I can, and the fact of the matter is, we just don't know. We just don't know. Like I said, I've heard things, but nothing that can be entirely confirmed. This whole thing with Milos being blocked and Dennis James being blocked and Chris Cormier, with all that being said, it does seem that there would have been something that went on, because this is not something that Samson would just do, I'm sure, for nothing. What was the conversation? What is it that took place that led him to this decision to block people? Is he going to block me? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm a fan of Samson. I think that he brings a great physique to the stage, and he's very open on his Instagram, of everything that he goes through when it comes to his prep and everything like that. Yeah, Gordon Ritchie just said, consider yourself blocked now too. Maybe. I'm just reporting what I see here. And I'm not trying to have any kind of negative connotation when it comes to this. This is simply what I'm seeing, as it's unfolding here. And I'm sure that more will unfold on this. Let's see. Loho, imagine Beirut beating Samson. That would be redemption for Milos. Yeah, I guess in a way it would. Beirut is going to have to get qualified and get his visa to get to the U.S. first, but we'll see if he can do it. Gamberizing, what's going on? Probably doesn't like them talking about him on their podcast, but they're usually decent and constructive with it. And that's how I try to be too. This is not a Samson hate fest whatsoever. Like I said, I am a fan of Samson's physique. I think that he's a great bodybuilder. I think that Milos did a great job with him, and I think that whatever Samson decides to do moving forward, I do think that he's still going to be one of the best in the world. And he still has a shot at winning the Olympia. Let's not kid ourselves here. But with that being said, does it seem that there was something else that went on behind, closed doors? Yeah, it would seem so. This was unprompted when it came to, everybody being blocked. Maybe it could have been as simple as something said on the Dennis James podcast that Samson didn't like. That's possible. But I don't know. A couple more comments here. Thanks a lot, everybody, for getting into the comments section. Like I said, I'll play this clip here for you guys in a minute. It's a very, very interesting clip. Very interesting. Scotty Thomas says, watch Samson's videos. His wife acts like his mom. She's always correcting him like a child. Yeah, you know what? She was doing that long before him and Milos split. I don't know. Their relationship dynamic, I have no idea, you guys. I have no idea. Mitchell says Samson is an emotional wreck right now. The roids are probably messing with his thought process. Eventually, he might turn on the oxygen gym and block those guys too. Who knows? Who knows? But the thing is, and I'll get into it here in a second when it comes to a video like this. Actually, you know what? Before I say anything further, I'm gonna play the clip for you guys. I'm gonna play it here, and we'll see what everybody thinks, and then I'll get to a few more comments.
Samson, why would you advise all competitors from Europe to come and compete in Dubai?
Well, I'll say this. For a long time, there have been loads of big shows around the world. And, you know, most of the massive shows with, like, great rewards are in the States. And a few of the guys from Europe, they find it hard to travel to the States. So having a show here in Dubai where it's not just accessible to the guys that are in Europe, they're accessible to the guys in the States as well. It's an easier flight for them to come down to Dubai to compete. Now, Dubai, we all know, is a very, very modern and a rising city. So it's only right we have a bodybuilding show right there.
And that's interesting right there. He says it's only right that we have a show. It's only right we have a bodybuilding show, right? Not to take too much away from this, but what is this we? You know, where is this reference to we at this point? As far as we knew, according to Samson, he was simply going out to Oxygen Gym for, what, a week or so? Fact of the matter is, sitting down for a formal interview with preconceived questions that were probably provided to him in advance, which we can't confirm, but assuming that he knew what the questions were going to be. So it's only right that we have a bodybuilding show right now. Maybe I'm reading into that a little bit too much. You guys let me know. But look, let's keep going with the clip here.
Right there. And right now, the flights are easy to get to. The prize money is nothing to shake your feet at. And, you know, the competitors, the stage is going to be one of the craziest stages you've ever seen. The competition is going to be next level. So for guys that really want to compete, and they want to compete with the best, and they want to get the reward of competing with the best, I say, you know what? If you can't make it to the States, come to Dubai and come experience something that you've never experienced before.
So there you go, you guys. If you can't make it to the States, come to Dubai and come experience something that you've never experienced before. One of the best bodybuilding shows you've ever seen. Some very high praise. That is some very high praise. And this is coming from someone who has won, you know, the Arnold Classic in Ohio, in the United States. Samson has done very well in the United States. So to have such high praise for Dubai, the guy hasn't been there a week yet. Now, with that being said, is he correct? Yeah. The Dubai Pro last year was an unbelievable production. There's no question there. And I do think that it's going to continue to gain more and more traction. But is this part of the strategy for growing that show? It has to be. You know, it has to be. Otherwise, why would Samson do this? You know? To promote bodybuilding? Perhaps. Sure. I could understand that. Yeah. But it would be very, very hard to believe that there's not some sort of, you know, monetary incentive here. And that doesn't mean that he's incorrect in saying it is one of the best shows that you've ever seen. It kind of was. The Monster Zim Pro in Korea, I think, was probably the only other show that I saw with production value that would rival the Dubai Pro. But look, let's get to some comments. Let's see. He doesn't want anything. Zuko Nahelwana, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, buddy. He doesn't want anything to do with, for the moment, he wants to make choices clear of pressure. Yeah. Yep. If I'm reading this correctly, I could understand Samson wanting to, you know, just be able to just train like a bodybuilder at this point. And when he first went to Kuwait, that's what I assumed he was going for. I mean, as a bodybuilder, as anybody who loves to lift weights, you know, even at its base form, the opportunity to go to Dubai to be able to train, I mean, yeah, you're going to take that. I certainly would. That would be awesome to be able to go to one of the, world-renowned gyms for especially bodybuilding. I mean, I understand his excitement for when he went there. I certainly do understand. Dextro Insane, what did you miss? I'll get back to you here about what you missed. Essentially, what's taken place is, well, you can see from the title, I'm sure. Samson has blocked Milos, Dennis James, and Chris Cormier on Instagram, and we've been discussing exactly why that may have taken place. And now we have this clip from Samson doing an interview at Oxygen Gym, which was kind of presented at first as if it was just a week-long trip to do, part of his vacation. But there may be a little bit more unfolding from that now. Let's see. Loho says, or Scotty Thomas, sorry, they don't allow women in Oxygen Gym. How's she going to be there? I don't know anything about that, to be honest. I know that she was in there, and I have no idea. I have no idea. Loho says, EP talking about drama and hurt feelings. Did you follow the whole shenanigans at RX Muscle After Hours? Yeah, I did. I did. And that's all it was, really, was just shenanigans, They buried the hatchet on all that stuff. I don't know, man. Great channel. I love them. All the guys there. But, yeah, it is, shenanigans is exactly what it was. Liza Fitness, what's going on? Welcome back. Says, come on, we need to be honest. They talk about him all the time, and it's hardly in positive way since he split with Milos. I'm actually going to just let this clip run here without the sound. I'll let that run so you guys can see the captions. RX Muscle all staged for drama views. Yeah, probably. Yeah, so they talk about him all the time, and it's hardly in a positive way since his split with Milos. I think that they definitely have some of their reservations when it comes to the conversation around Samson, and understandably so. It's not what it was when it came to giving Samson such high praise all the time. There's no question there. There's definitely less of that. And Milos is definitely one who has still said that Samson has one of the best physiques, hashtag bodybuilding, all those things. But really, is it as much as what he was doing before? No, and naturally so, I mean, why would you continue to promote a guy that, is not in your camp anymore? They're still honest about his placings and his physique and stuff like that. Like when they were talking to Quint Beastwood and they were speaking about, the comparison between Samson and Quint Beastwood. Milos was complimentary of Samson, no question. But it's certainly, not what it was. And that's understandable. Let's see. Dextro Insane. Dubai is allowing everyone into the country. What have I missed? Have Samson blocked Milos? Yeah, you got it. Yeah, no worries, bro. No worries. So that's a bit of what's been going on, you guys. This has been drama continuing to unfold, around one of the best in the world. Is that because Samson puts himself out there more than most in professional bodybuilding? Perhaps. If you guys follow Samson Dauda, you know that he puts up everything when it comes to his prep, how he's feeling day to day. When he gets up to do his morning cardio, he's putting it on video, how he feels before he goes to train, every set, every exercise, his drive home. He's putting it all out there. And in a way, I'm glad that he has, well, not in a way. I'm certainly glad that he has. For one, it's great content. But also, just as a fan, you get to really know exactly what's going on with Samson, He puts it all out there, man. And that's more than a lot of bodybuilders do. Are there negative aspects to that? Certainly. The more you put yourself out there, the more you leave yourself open to criticism. And that's true of anybody. But, like they say, if you don't got haters, then, you never really made it, right? Let's see. Scotty Thomas. Bodybuilders hate critique, but are in a sport where they are critiqued and judged. Kinda. Yeah. You're kind of right. I think that some critique can go a little bit too far, I think at the end of the day, anybody that earns that pro card and is able to stand up there with the best of the best, you got to be able to take some critique and be realistic about it, Look at Beef Stew. I made a video there not long ago, and I said, man, he needs to bring up his back double bicep, because he does. It's not a negative. It's simply something that he needs to improve upon. And these guys, they have to be realistic with themselves in order to make those improvements. And I think that pretty much all of them are. You know, I don't think that we see a lot of bodybuilders that come out and say, no, don't fucking talk to me, don't talk about me like that or whatever. I don't see a lot of that. And I talk to some of these guys pretty regularly. Loho says, what's your favorite physique of all time? A physique you would like to have? Man, that's a really good question. Excuse me. Favorite physique of all time? Man, probably Kevin Levrone. You know, that comes to mind. Kevin Levrone had one of the best physiques, you know, of all time, in my opinion. I would definitely, I would have to go with Kevin Levrone. He had the mass, but he also had the aesthetics, you know. And if the guy ever wants to get in shape, like that. So that helps. If we're talking about genetics too. So yeah, Kevin Levrone. Eliza Fitness, it's not about promoting him. Dennis seems to try to put him down in every opportunity he gets. Chris too, check the recent podcast. Yep, I agree. I definitely agree. I think that they were doing that before Milos was not coaching Samson at the same time. But Milos lets them get away with it a little bit more now, I think. And I think that they were a little bit more respectful of that before Samson and Milos split as well. Because, I mean, you know, these guys, they don't want to stir up a bunch of shit. And it makes sense that they were a little bit more respectful about it before. Dexter Insane, love the chatting theme. Thanks for following, man. Appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate all the subscribers, all the listeners, everybody that's tuning in. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. So, again, we have what appeared to be, you know, from Samson's perspective, a fairly amicable split. He was very thankful to Milos. He was high praising here. You guys can see the post that they made from March 18th. I hear you, Eliza Fitness. Thanks for the welcome back. Didn't go anywhere. I've been watching. I know you've been watching. I know. Yep. And I appreciate you. I really do. I am going to go live for the New York Pro as well. So you guys can look forward to that. I'll try to do every live that I can. But again, this all appeared to be something where Samson was very thankful. But now, you know, to say here, where did he say it? This amazing gentleman and all he's done for me for the past 2.5 years. I will be forever grateful. Wish you all the very best. Even though we are no longer working together, I will always consider you my friend. Well, friends don't block friends on Instagram. You know, there must have been something else that went on. You know, there must have been something else that went on there. Gamer Eye, what do you think about Quint Beastwood? He's much favorite bodybuilder next to Michael Krizo. Since you said Levrone is your all-time favorite, what do you think of Quint Beastwood? Man, Quint Beastwood is a great bodybuilder. You know, he's fantastic. I think he has a great physique, and I think that he will continue to do well in the pro league. With that being said, do I think he can make it to the Olympia this year? I do. I absolutely do. Do I think that he still needs to honestly put on some more muscle? I think he might have to. I think that he has great shape, some of the best out there. But I just think a little bit more size. It's like we saw with Andrew Jack, you know? Just a little bit more size. And we will really, really have a fantastic competitor on our hands, you know? But Quint Beastwood, I'm a big fan. And I think that if he does make it to the Olympia, that you'll see him probably top 10 in his first Olympia. You know, probably top 10. Quinton will make a huge jump like Samson did. Yeah, probably. Samson went from, you know, an unknown bodybuilder, essentially, to, you know, 6th place at the Olympia. It all started when Samson stood next to Big Ramy at the 2022 Olympia when they did the initial callouts for the initial quarter turns. When Samson was able to stand next to Big Ramy and really hold his own, that was the turning point. You guys probably remember. That was the turning point for Samson Dauda. That was absolutely the turning point. But yeah, we are seeing at this point, like I said, we fast forward to 2024. Samson is no longer coached by Milos, and we don't know what is going to happen with Samson at this point. You know, we really don't. It's difficult to say. I actually let's see. I could bring up some of what Samson has been saying, I think. Unless I completely screwed my live stream, which I haven't yet. That's good. Just you can see some of the places that Samson's been here, while he's been in Dubai. But again, this was supposed to be a week-long trip. I don't know if this clip that we saw, going to mean that Samson is now going to be extending his stay there, or if he's going to leave and end up coming back. I really don't. But again, the question was asked here: why would you advise all competitors from Europe to come compete in Dubai? And the answer that he gives is very complimentary. And after only being in Dubai for essentially a week, and of course knowing what we know about the Dubai Pro, it's not hard to find that info. You can go online, you can see it for yourself. It looks very impressive. But to suddenly be jumping on this and saying, yeah, everybody come and do it. Well, my question is Samson going to do it? Is Samson going to compete at the Dubai Pro? Now, that would be interesting because the guy is already qualified. He qualified very shortly after the 2023 Olympia by winning Romania and then going and winning the EVLS Prague Pro. He doesn't need to compete again. He needs to make improvements. He needs to nail that conditioning. Now, by going and competing, perhaps he can find a new way to do it. And perhaps if he does end up prepping in Dubai, the possibility could be there of, whoever his new coach is really figuring out his peak. We got a couple more comments here, you guys. Lohos asking about, since I'm a diver, have I ever heard of the horrific story of Dave Shaw? I saw it on Dive Shot. Crazy story. That one I haven't heard. No, I haven't heard that one actually. I've heard a ton of them over the years. I'll check that one out though. Scotty Thomas, Clint Beastwood second in New York Pro. Good chance of it. Absolutely, really good chance of it. He probably will. Let's see if I can bring up some of Samson's stories here and just kind of go through it live with you guys. Again, I appreciate everybody being here, and I appreciate everybody in the comments section, all the subscribers. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Let me know you're here in the comments, and I'm glad that everybody came out to respond to this with me. Let's see. Oh, that's certainly something. Okay, let's get off of this. This is the joys of doing these things live, you guys. Let's take a look. Okay. Samson's most recent story here. Look, he got an O2, shaker bottle at this point. He's probably going to walk away with O2 stuff. But he is still promoting hostile. And that was one of the questions is, was Samson going to be, leaving hostile? Which I don't think was a fair question just because he was over in Dubai for a week at this point. Not a fair question. The question was, circling around whether or not Fouad would really like the association between Samson and Oxygen Gym or not. And again, no idea. This was the clip again. And again, going back to Oxygen Gym, I haven't seen much training footage actually from Samson training in the gym. I think you guys have watched his stories pretty steadily. But he's been pushing it hard. He's been pushing it really hard. Which, in fairness, he's been doing that since he got there, and he's been pushing his social media. Yeah, I mean, anything that he posts on social media, it's all out there. It's nothing for him to do. 3 posts a day and putting everything out there with his stories. His stories are always stacked. Look, he's wearing a hostile T-shirt, right? His wife Marlenka, and just it looks like he's having, honestly, the time of his life. You know, and he probably is. Probably is. I mean, I would assume he's being paid to be there as well, and check all these places out and do all these things, and probably a good penny too. I wouldn't doubt it for a second. So it is very interesting. What's going on here with Samson. Very interesting. Let's see. Yeah, he qualified by being top 3 at the O. Yeah, that's right. He did. Yeah, good call. That's Irving Medina. Very good. Thank you.
But he really did block.
I'll silence that. Just let that clip play through. Unless you guys want to see it again. Release Promo says, I checked out the New York Pro live stream and it's decently priced, but apparently you cannot rewatch it. So just live in real time, and if you want to rewatch, you have to pay another fee. Well, I've got my methods. I've got my methods. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me either. Let's see. Release Promo going to be a hell of a show. I'm psyched for it. Yeah, me too. Me too. Antoine Nascimento, and I apologize if I mispronounce your last name. Samson just shot himself in the foot, bro. Trust me. This whole thing with his wife in the mix, now joining the anabolic chicken boys, hell no. Hey, I don't know. It's definitely not something that seems like an amicable situation. We can say that for sure. Scotty Thomas, Nick winning for sure at New York. Yeah, probably. Probably. Antoine Nascimento, we here, bro. I appreciate all you guys being here. I really do. Otto Straka, what does EP09 stand for? Hey, what's up, Krishan? He's here. I'll give me a second. Krishan, can you confirm whether or not Samson actually blocked you? I don't know if he did or not. I know somebody did that was high up in the bodybuilding world. I can't remember if it was Samson or not. So let's just clarify that right now. Krishan, Goat Fitness. Everybody go subscribe to Goat Fitness. Man, I've been watching Goat Fitness for a long time, you guys. One of the longest standing bodybuilding channels in YouTube history. For news coverage, great guy. Lives of Fitness, welcome Goat Fitness, absolutely. What does EP09 stand for? So EP09 is an online handle that I came up with back in 2009 when I was living in a place called Eastern Passage, which is on the it's the South Shore near the middle of Nova Scotia. It's near Halifax. At that time, I was doing nothing but eat, sleep, train, repeat, and that's it, you guys. And everybody around me was doing the exact same thing. I was living with my cousin at the time. We didn't care about anything else. All it was eat, sleep, train. And like I said, we had guys around us that were bodybuilders. We had guys that were MMA fighters. But everybody was just so into training, and that's all we did for months. So that was one time in my life that really stood out to me. And it's the online handle that I came up with at that time. So that's EP09. Go Fitness, not Samson. Ross and Sergio did. Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. So it wasn't Samson Dauda. We've got that clarified straight from the source. It was Ross Flanagan and Sergio Oliva Jr. There you go. I might be blocked after this video. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But again, the most recent update from the MENACE podcast is that Milos Sarcev has been blocked, as well as Dennis James and Chris Cormier. And that's everybody that we know of as of right now. I am going to play the clips for you guys again, just because we're here, we're having a good time on a Sunday. Let's play the clips again. First one is where? All right, let's play it here.
Hey, Chris, did you check? Did the Samson block you? Because he blocked Dennis too.
Really? Guys are assholes. No, I don't think so, man.
I don't know why. I mean, it's funny because Milos said that he was blocked, and then when he told me, I checked and I was still following him, but now when I put his name in, I don't even find it. So does that mean I'm blocked?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure?
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm blocked?
100%. See it though?
Yeah, it
You
does.
can't see it?
Let me before I
Okay.
I don't understand. I wouldn't understand.
So you can look, you guys, you can see Dennis is doing everything to try and search through, and this was like the first 5 minutes of the show, you know. He was doing everything to try and find, you know, Samson's profile, because I genuinely think, like, look, there was a lot of things that went on with, you know, Dennis James and the Big Ramy thing. This here really seems like Dennis just had no idea that this was going to happen. You know, he had no idea. And I don't think it makes any sense. It doesn't, aside from the affiliation with Milos. That makes sense. But at the core, what does it matter? Why block those two guys? Like, he doesn't want Dennis or Chris Cormier to see what he's doing? Why would that matter? That I don't understand. You know, that I don't understand. Go Fitness. I think Fuad has rubbed off on Samson. Yeah, I know that. I know you got your feelings about Fuad. That's for sure. Samson, just as a bodybuilder, man. I mean, you can't knock him with the physique that he takes to the stage. People knock him on his midsection and his back, but I mean, he's one of the best out there. There's no question. Casey Darren, 30 minutes in, Samson probably blocked because they were ranking Quinton's potential favorably over Samson's last week. Oh, I never really put two and two together like that. You could be right. But if that is the case, is that really a good reason to block someone? You know, it goes back to the comment that we had earlier of bodybuilders and criticism. That is a poor reason, you know, to go and block someone. Very poor reason. Antoine Nascimento, Samson blocking people is crazy to me. He blocked his own former coach, bro. Yeah, and like I said, you can, like, and he said that he still wanted to remain friends and still considered him a close friend, you know? I don't know, well, close, but he said he was going to consider him still a friend. Very strange, man, very strange. Go Fitness. Samson told the fans him and Milos were friends and does this. Not a good look. And that's just it, you know? Oh, I'm glad that I pronounced your name correctly. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, let's finish the clip here.
And why? Now, usually, if you follow someone, you would find them immediately. Now it doesn't find them no more. No, I guess I'm blocked. I don't know why. You know.
Let me see.
Yeah, Chris is checking his too.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. I have 5 other accounts. I can check if I want to see some.
5.
You know, maybe.
You know, I've got we've got a comment here. Liza Fitness. At the moment, we do not know if Samson is making bad decisions until we see his performance at the Olympia. We should allow things to play out. And I agree. This was not. I did not have my preconceived notions of if this was a good idea or a bad idea for Samson to be out at Oxygen Gym. Because the other thing is, what we need to let play out is let Samson confirm that he's actually going to be prepping there. Because as of right now, we have zero confirmation of that. And I mean zero. You know, you could discern certain things from the fact that Samson is out there in Kuwait. He's been there for a week. He's putting all this stuff out there about how great it is and everything like that. And also the interview question that did take place, you know, most definitely does seem to be, you know, a little bit more than Samson just simply being out there. You know, it does seem to be a little bit more than that. But we don't have any confirmation, and I do want to let things play out, you know. Primarily, like I was saying, this was about Samson just blocking anyone associated with Milos right now. We'll see if I get blocked. I don't know. Okay, Go Fitness. Samson's physique is great. It's his character that's in question as of late. You're right. Yeah, it is a little bit in question. And I think the reason that it's in question is because it wasn't before this whole thing with Milos. You know, Samson was regarded as being, you know, one of the more positive guys out there in bodybuilding. You know, coming from his humble beginnings as a carpenter, moving his way up through the ranks, just going to compete because he loves to compete. I think a lot of people had a hard time accepting that when it came to Samson simply wanted to continue to compete because he loves to compete and he wants to travel the world, and he knows that bodybuilding is, you know, very short in terms of a career, you know, relatively speaking. So there was, you know, some things that surrounded that in particular. Now with this whole thing of people being blocked, and I don't know, there's a lot of, for a guy that puts everything out there, now to just, you know, show up randomly at Oxygen Gym and be like, oh yeah, this is going down, and okay. It's hard to believe that there's not some sort of, you know, preconceived notion of a business agreement happening here. And Samson being such an open book, there was really nothing that indicated this was going to take place. And it does seem like, look, the fact of the matter is, deals like this don't just happen overnight. These things take a lot of time. I wouldn't be surprised if Samson was approached when he was still being coached by Milos, right? And don't think that that can be out of the question. It absolutely could. And it could have taken this long for various reasons. It could have been planned for this to take place when it did, you know? Let the dust settle, let everything, let a competition take place, you know, get out of the, you know, extreme public eye for a minute. Absolutely possible. But we just don't know. I do want to say that. We just don't know. You know, this is just really for conversation purposes. But again, you guys let me know what you guys think of this whole situation with Samson blocking Milos and Dennis James and Chris Cormier. I mean, what do you think prompted this? You know, do you think that the conversation took place between Samson and the Oxygen Gym crew, you know, when he was still being coached by Milos? You know, I wouldn't doubt it for a second. Honestly, I wouldn't. I think that it's entirely possible that, and probably likely, you know, business deals like this can take a long time. Samson just blocked his whole chat. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, man. I do, like I said, guys, I do like Samson's physique, you know. I think that he's got a great story. I think that he can still bring a better package to the stage, and I think that he will. Whether he stays in Dubai or not. Without a doubt, he's going to be coached by the best out there. There's no question, you know. I don't think he's going to stay with Marlinka, you know, continuing to coach him. I think that she'll probably stay involved, but I think that he's going to end up being coached by, you know, probably one of the best out there. I think so. It'd be very unlikely that he tries to coach himself. Zuko Mahowana. Let's remember, it's all about the money. He needs a clear head. That's why he's blocking everyone to think clearly. Huh. What do I think about that? He needs a clear head. That's why he's blocking everyone to think clearly. I think that you can maintain a clear head without having to necessarily, you know, block everyone. Consider the fact that these comments were being made on YouTube, right? Well, everything that Dennis and Chris and Milos talk about is all on that podcast. It's all on YouTube. There is nothing that takes place on Instagram that I've seen from Dennis or Chris, you know, or even, well, especially Milos at this point. There's nothing that tells me, you know, that blocking them on those platforms would constitute, you know, any rationale, because everything, just don't tune in to the podcast on YouTube, you know. Blocking out noise is one thing, but maybe even just a reminder of seeing their profile. I don't know. I don't think Samson's that sensitive, to be honest with you. I don't. Leo Eris, what's up? Welcome back. Samson is one of those guys that you admire the physique and ignore his personage. I hope he fulfills his potential, but I'm not invested in him beyond him coming in shredded, hopefully. A lot of people are taking that up right now. And Samson seems to be gaining a little bit, actually, I should say a lot less favor in the public eye of bodybuilding. You know, it's a situation that still, I think, needs to play out a little bit more before I really decide what side of the fence I'm going to be on. I think it's definitely suspicious, though, and I am paying attention. That I will say. You know, that I will say. Do I think it was anything shady or malicious? I don't know if it would be anything beyond, heated words. I don't know. You start going after somebody's money or somebody's family, well, that's a different story. And Samson probably feels a bit attacked when it comes to, his wife. So consider that. If somebody was going at your wife, like, absolute daggers online, how would you react? That's another really good question, right? Let's see. Liza Fitness. I don't understand why people frown at Samson's decision of cutting ties with Milos. He needed to. He needs a new coach who will help improve his conditioning. Milos admitted that he couldn't. I don't disagree with that whatsoever. It's just this blocking of everybody that I just don't understand. And like I said, he said that He said that he was going to remain friends. I've got the image right here. It's here. Right here, like we've all seen back on March 18th. Wish you all the very best. Even though we are no longer working together, I will always consider you my friend. Well, things do happen between friends, there's no question. But it does seem, like a very short period of time has gone by at this point. A very short period of time. How could things have fallen apart like that to the point where not only is Milos blocked, but everybody surrounded by Milos is getting blocked as well. Davey Mies or Mize, I apologize. Let me know if I'm saying it correctly. I was a big fan of Samson's, no longer after they tried dragging Milos's reputation through the mud. Samson's popularity will wane because he had a constant cheerleader in Milos, and he doesn't anymore. Milos did, man. Milos really pushed Samson, man. He really did. Like, Milos was on so many podcasts, like Dennis James was calling him a podcast whore at one point, because he did. He went on every podcast, man. Pushing Samson. He absolutely did. Every Instagram post, he definitely lost a really big cheerleader from a substantial name in bodybuilding. Scotty Thomas, I see him leaving Hostile soon. I don't know. That's a possibility. Connie Alvarez, I see you. Thanks for being here. I think if there's enough money involved, then sure. I mean, who wouldn't jump ship, right? Scotty Thomas, it's pretty clear she acts like his mother watching his videos. She constantly corrects him like her child. Yeah, you mentioned that before, yeah. Milos also said Samson doesn't do enough cardio. Yeah, he did say that. He said that he wasn't willing to do, or not necessarily he wasn't willing, but yeah, for what Milos was expecting for cardio, he did say that Samson just wasn't doing it. But you saw Samson doing cardio every morning, so I don't know, man. I don't know. It was Nick on bodybuilding and BS that Samson blocked. Yeah, it was. Yep, that's right. So again, Liza Fitness, Samson has not confirmed his coach yet, and that's important to note. He hasn't confirmed anything. As of right now, he's just out in Dubai doing his thing. He did have that, interview question that he put up about promoting Dubai, which he probably was paid for, but maybe it didn't go any further than that. I don't know. But anyway, even if he moves there, it doesn't mean he'll be coached by them. Nexzilla and Breon are heading there, but are keeping their respective coaches. You're absolutely right. That is a possibility. We have to let some of this play out to really know how that's going to go. Leo Eris on the physique side. Hello. Hi. Good girl. One of my 3 dogs. Joining me for the live stream. Leo Eris on the physique side. I am really worried about him in Oxygen. Not a place where they bring in guys shredded, mainly big and full. I hope I'm wrong. I still want to see him fulfill. Yeah. That's what Oxygen Gym has always been known for. Could that change? Because we really have only seen that since the big Rami times there. Rolly Winkler as well. Brandon Curry he didn't bring his best conditioning, even though he prepped at Oxygen Gym. But I mean, he did have that sickness, within 24 hours of taking the stage. So I think that was part of it. Let's see. Let's see. Connie Alvarez. I don't see him placing top 3 at the Olympia again. The dude can't stand suffering. Milos said it on the Cutler cast. Milos wanted whitefish and veggies and cardio. Yeah, and that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Samson wasn't playing that game. I guess not. Yeah. Dog reveal. Yeah, that's my puppy Alexa. We rescued her probably 5 years ago. She's great. Samson did say they are friends, but lately they have been talking negatively about him. You'd expect friends to defend you, not play along. I think Milos was fairly respectful of Samson. I think it's fair to say that, when they were doing the comparison between Quint Beastwood and Samson, that Milos did, yes, I see you. I see you. Yes, okay. Good girl. This is Alexa. She's a very good girl. Yes. Anyway, yeah, Milos did kind of back up Samson being better than Quint Beastwood. Not kind of. He did for sure. He definitely said that Samson was better than Quint Beastwood. So there was some defense there. In fairness, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but that's the way that I saw it. Antoine Nascimento, Milos was a solid one behind Samson, and the way he discredits him was really ugly as a man. That to me is your worst one you can do. Like Milos had Samson in his mouth paws all this. Yeah, you're right. Like I said, Milos definitely was complimentary of Samson during the interview with Quint Beastwood. There's no question. Hottie trains harder and does more cardio than Samson. Yeah, no question there. Hottie's one of the hardest trainers out there, man. Okay, thank you. She's a big sook. Hottie trains super hard. Like, Hottie's one of the hardest trainers out there, man. He is one guy that does not let off the gas for one single second, and I really admire that from Hottie. Leo Aris says Milos is still clearly a fan of Samson. Kind of sad to see how things played out, but ultimately the world continues to spin. Sure it does. Sure. I mean, this is not going to be the the be all end all for Samson. He is going to continue to do well, and he is probably going to be. There's a very good chance, Mr. Olympia someday. He does need to make the right decisions now, though. There's no question there. Connie Alvarez, my dog does more cardio than. Oh man, I mean, I don't know how much cardio your dog does, but yes, could Samson stand to do some more? Maybe, yeah, maybe. Anyone interested in Samson's career? Peter says, watch his chest workout last week with Valier Feroci and take note of his stomach when he gets out of the machines. I'll go back and look at it for sure. But I don't know. I think that's a lot of pro bodybuilders. Nick Walker, when he lets his stomach go, man, the guy looks pregnant, He does. It's that midsection control on stage is what it comes down to. And you do need to practice that outside of, being on stage. There's no question. Is it a bad look? Yeah, I won't disagree with that. I won't disagree with that at all. The only thing I liked more about old era bodybuilding is that you weren't as close to the guys' personal lives due to the lack of internet. And that's from Leo Aris. How do I feel about that? Well, I wouldn't be here having that conversation with you guys, is one thing I can say. Peter, I agree. It is a 24/7 practice. I absolutely agree with that. I think there's pros and cons. I think that there's definitely pros and cons. But if one thing is for sure, it's that the internet is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. So yeah, this is the playing field that bodybuilders need to play on now. It's part of how they have to make their money. That's this age in bodybuilding. Let's see. Lots of comments here. Thank you, everybody, for being here in the comment section. I really appreciate all you guys. Let's see. Even Jay had a gut, but he always kept it in check. Same with Nick. As long as it's in check, I see no issue. When it comes to being on stage, absolutely. But you got to keep that thing in check when you're on stage. There's no question there. If it's not in check, you are not going to survive in this day and age of bodybuilding. No way. No way. You really got to have that midsection in check. Leo Aris says, well said, need to adapt to the landscape of the sport. The spotlight can be hard to handle. Sure it can. Yeah, sure it can. Even for my channel, I still consider to be in a fairly infant stage. I had comments, from last year where people would be, maybe a little bit less than complimentary. And even the first time I saw somebody, honestly, to be honest with you guys, the first time I saw somebody unsubscribe, Krishan can tell you, I messaged him and I was like, man, you get many people that unsubscribe to your channel, on a regular basis? And he was like, no, man, I don't. I had one person that unsubscribed, and I was like, it can be different, and I'm nowhere in any kind of spotlight. Don't get me wrong, but social media in general is a game that you have to play, and there's no classes on it. Phil Heath said that when he was first coming up, because he really had that first era of social media. It's a difficult game to play. There's no question. Yeah, there's no question. So we'll get through a couple more comments here, you guys, and then we'll wrap this up. Again, if you guys missed it, we did have Samson Dauda, who we have had confirmed by Milos Sarcev, Dennis James, and Chris Cormier. He did indeed block them on Instagram, and somewhat surprising. Especially after Samson said, like we've been through here, with the post that he made on March 18th. Even though we're no longer working together, I will always consider you my friend. Something potentially could have happened. Definitely potential there. I admire the guys that do this. I've wanted to talk about my passions about the sport online, but honestly, it seems brutal. I think that there's an opportunity to create your own community, and it all comes down to what you want to put out there. I think that there's possibilities to make whatever type of channel with whatever type of community that you really want, in the YouTube space, and it comes down to persistence and consistency within that space. It's all up to you. It really is. But look, on that note, you guys, I'm going to leave it right there. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in to the live stream here. I appreciate all you guys being here. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe for all the latest bodybuilding news updates, latest podcasts with IFBB pros, contest coverage. Everything is here on EP